Hello and welcome to the Down Under Visa Philippines to Australia podcast series. I'm your host, Jeff Harvey, Registered Migration Agent with Down Under Visa, the premier Australian migration agents in Manila, Philippines, specialising in visas for Australian Filipina couples. We hope you enjoy this podcast and hope it proves useful to you. Please feel free to share this with your partner and with any of your interested friends. Let's get started. Australian partner visa or tourist visa. Hard decisions. Tourist visas. Australian tourist visas from Philippines and the changing immigration landscape. Different rules and different priorities, and the standards change. Now, we observe and we pass the information on so you can better understand what to expect and what the new rules are. What we all know is that Australian partner visa fees are rising, and our clients have to make a decision what to do now or in the near future. Tourist visa or partner visa? That is the question. Now, first of all, to those who haven't read some or all of our articles on the blog page, a few simple but essential statements. First and foremost, visas are grants and they are not rights. Never assume an entitlement to a visa or that they have to hand it over because you're a taxpayer. 2, there is no such thing as a simple tourist visa. They make them challenging in order to ensure that only suitable visa applicants get visa grants, and those who want to rort the system, overstay and work illegally won't get in. Now, you need to prove that you are not like this if you want a tourist visa grant. Now, I hope nobody can hear my budgerigar in the background. I think this microphone should cancel it out, but anyway, it's just a happy word. Now, why tourist visas from Philippines to Australia? Look, partner visa applications are becoming increasingly more expensive as partner visa fees rise, and many Australians simply don't have the funds available to pay the visa application charges that the government, in its compassionate wisdom, extorts for their services. The more they crank the fees up, the harder it all becomes. And Australian Filipina couples are often in a position where they just can't reach for the checkbook and just do it. When we did ours, goodness me, I don't remember what it cost, but I think it was about $1,000. And they just, put it up a little bit every year. We'd be going up a couple of $100 or something, but then they quite savagely put it up a number of years ago. It was a year when a particular budget from Mr. Abbott and Mr. Hockey didn't go through, and they needed money, so they thought, right, where can we find an absolute captive market, a demographic that's there which is going to spend no matter what? And they were correct in that. I've never once come across somebody come to me and say, oh, look, I've got this woman I'm madly in love with, but goodness me, far too expensive, I'm going to get a cat instead. Look, people can sometimes take their time, and we've certainly had people say, don't have the money right now. A year later they come back and say, Jeff, I've got the money now, let's do it. They don't forget each other. So they were correct in doing that. They just weren't correct morally in what they did. I think it was grossly unfair. It is how it is. Nothing we can do about it, and we don't have an alternative to it. People sometimes ask, is there some other visa we can get? What about a student visa? What about a work visa? Or, she can come over and study something. And they're trying to find some alternative. But look, the way it goes is there are a lot of different visa types, but they all match circumstances. If you want her to come out because she's your partner, she's your fiancee, she's your wife, you really have no other choice. You have to look at a partner visa. That's all there is about it. So mean and unfair, but that is the way it is. Anyway, I'll continue. Look, have our partner visa numbers been dropping over the years? No, not at all. And again, we've been in practice for a while, and our reputation drives more and more people to our doors. And the other thing is you can't keep a good man down or a good couple down. Just as I said before, no one ever gives up on the love of their life because of money. They find a way, and in the meantime they do what they can to be together. But look, I need to let you know all that while your desires for tourist visas has increased most definitely, for fairly obvious reasons, because if we have more applicants who can't afford the partner visa fees, well then they still want to be together, so 3 months in Australia is better than a month in the Philippines. So that's what you're finding, that more people are getting more tourist visas. But because of this, because of more tourist visas, it is an issue that the department, once again in its compassionate wisdom, has been cracking down on a few areas and making things tougher. Now let's explain the basics first. Single entry or multiple entry tourist visa, and how long? Now there are two essential types of tourist visa that you will see, although I should not have worded as two types. It's still the subclass 600 tourist visa, but there are variations on that. One is single entry and the other one is multiple entry. So what does that all mean? Okay, single entry. Now this means just that. You may enter Australia a single time, single entry, once only. Now even if you get a 3-month stay, once the visa holder leaves Australia, then that's it, finished. You can't do a visa run and renew it or anything like that, it's finished. So if she comes out with 3 months to stay and single entry, she stays a week, well guess what? It's finished. Once she leaves and she may not return. Single entry only. The other one is multiple entry. Now what this means is the applicant may leave Australia and come back again on the same visa as long as the rules and which go with that particular visa are followed. So in other words, as long as you're not working or doing anything stupid. And this visa will notably have two very important things to look at. Now the stay period, that's the first one. Now commonly this will be 3 months. So you look to see where it says stay period. So the visa holder may stay up to 3 months. Now please note there's not 90 days but 3 calendar months. So you know, if she arrives on the 28th of a particular month, well then she's got to be out by the 28th, 3 months down the track. Okay, so you know, if it happens to be February and there's less days, well then, you know, that's just bad luck. If there's a whole lot of 30-day, if there were 30-day months in there, well then again, yeah, you wear that. But anyway, that's how it leaves, 3 months. Okay, so that's, you need to know that. Do not mistake. Do not see, oh, you know, see a date there a year later and say, whoopee, I've got a 1-year visa. Do not have a 1-year visa. It does not give her the right to stay for 1 year in Australia. Last date to enter. Now many, or probably I guess I would say most people, will mistake this for the expiry date. Now it is in fact the last date that the visa holder may enter Australia, where they may stay for the stay period, which is usually 3 months. Okay, so the way it generally goes is, okay, supposing that if they grant the visa on, you know, the 3rd of October, well, generally you find the last date to enter is the 3rd of October the next year. So what it means is that, yes, they may, she may leave, she may come back on that date and may stay another 3 months. So it's not actually the expiry date at all. A little hint on that is make sure that you give yourself a little bit of leeway there. Don't be in a position where, because the plane's late and because there's bad weather when it's circling and it lands after midnight and boom, you're on to the next day, in which case the visa would be finished. So try to be careful about things like that. Now, another important fact, the multiple entry tourist visa holder must never think they can come back again 3 days later. You will find yourself stopped at the airport if you're trying to do this. So don't think, oh, okay, 3 months, okay, go back, go and wave to mum and then get the next flight back again. Don't try to be clever with that. And just because that might be valid for 12 months does not mean you are not going to spend a year together. As simple as that. Get that right out of your head straight away. Because yes, you'll be stopped at the airport if you try to do this. And they will see this as you trying to use a tourist visa to live in a de facto relationship for a year. This isn't what the visa is meant for, and they will take a hard line, and they do. You've got these nice border force thugs who wander around the airport in their jackbooted uniforms, and they seem to get their jollies by terrifying 4'11" Filipina ladies who can't even understand what they're saying and threatening them. I've had some poor girls in a terrible state over that when they've been handled roughly. So yeah, be aware of that. So what you must stay away for at least a month before returning for your own sakes. I've got other podcast articles about this. I've got other blog articles, but do not assume or do not try to be clever there, because they can and will turn around and say the visa's cancelled. Quite commonly they'll say this is the last time you're coming here. So if you were thinking, right, I'm going to be able to keep coming here for the rest of the year, you're going to be in for a rude shock. And it is within their rights to say, I have deduced that you are not a genuine tourist. You are trying to live here in a de facto relationship. Therefore, your visa's cancelled. They could actually stick you on a plane and send it straight back again. And you don't want to be in that situation. So please take that seriously. Maximum stay periods: 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Hey, a lot of you would have looked on the department website where it says you can get 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. It looks like it's just a case of, right, well, I'll have that one, or I'll have that one, or 12 months sounds good, I'll grab that. But look, what I'm doing is I'm stating reality. They don't give out long stay tourist visas to loving Australian Filipina couples. So elderly parents and aunties visiting their kids and grandkids, they will generally take a softer view, and they may grant 6 month stays. And with parents, I've known them to grant 12 months, but don't expect this for yourselves. It won't happen. They've actually literally, they don't often open up to us, as it were, but they have made that clear to us. They do not want tourist visas for couples for 6 months. So we've stopped asking for 6 months. We used to get it sometimes. Now you can pretty much say it won't happen. So you can realistically expect a 3 month stay to visit your Australian fiancé or boyfriend. Now, tourist visa options for Australian Filipina couples. So, tourist visa rather than partner visa. Look, I think you've all heard me say time and time again that if you really can't stand being apart, then you should be looking at a partner visa, no question about it. But if you're lacking the necessary finances because of the high partner visa fees, then I do understand, by saying to you, why don't you look at a partner visa? I'm not picking on you. I'm not getting cranky because you chose, the visa, which was not my preference. Our job is to make you guys happy, and we do everything we can to make that happen. But I'm also quite aware that I think I would quite often put this to somebody. I'd say, how would you feel? You've got her there, you're living together, you're madly in love, and this is what you want in life, and then in 3 months' time you stick her on a plane, wave goodbye to her, and you start all over again. Ask yourself if you're comfortable doing that. If you're not, well, then you definitely should not be looking at a tourist visa unless you simply can't afford it and this is all you can do. So again, yes, we do understand, but I would just strongly advise you to concentrate on turning around as soon as you can, because tourist visa will never take the place of a partner visa, and the department will ensure that you can't use a tourist visa in its place. So it's not a substitute. As I explained before, you even even if you do get a multiple entry visa, well then, yeah, it won't. You can't stay together for a year. Simple as that. 6 month stay. As I said before, a month or so ago, the Australian Embassy actually spelled it out to us. Older parents and maybe the occasional auntie could get a 6 month stay, but for couples, they will generally only give out a 3 month stay. A number of years ago, they told us they don't want to give out stays longer than 3 months to anyone, so that is just the reality. Now, single entry or multiple entry. Now, back in the olden days, years ago, multiple entry tourist visas from Philippines to Australia were really hard work. You had to utterly convince them of the need, or they just didn't grant them. You had to really explain. You have to give a travel itinerary that says, right, well, we're going to be, chopping up and going to New Zealand, and then we'll be back again, and then, we're going to be doing this, and then we've got this wedding to attend, and you had to spell all of that out. But then they relaxed about them considerably and started giving them out even when we didn't ask for them. We'd have people going, oh, isn't down on the visa wonderful? You got some multiple entry tourist visa. But the truth is, if you'd asked for a single entry, would applied for a single entry, sometimes they just turn around and grant multiple entry, and people would think we're wonderful when we were just all very fortunate when that happened. Now, maybe it's because of the issues discussed earlier about treating them as replacement partner visas, and the issues with, the guerrilla types who make up border force. I don't know. We can only observe because, they very rarely do tell us reasons why things happen. But the fact is, they grant less multiple entry tourist visas now. When I wrote this over the last few weeks before that, we had 19 tourist visa grants, 12 of them are single entry and 9 were multiple entry. Now since then, we just observed we have not seen too many, over say the last 4 weeks, we haven't seen too many grants for multiple entry, so they seem to be really clamping down on them. So, we can always ask. It doesn't cost more for us to request this. The visa is not more expensive, it's not more work. If you want that, well, ask us. Don't assume. Always say, hey Jeff, can you please apply for a multiple entry for us, and we will do that. But again, we can request, but we can't demand, we can't insist. Had somebody emailing me just today. I was answering somebody who was quite disappointed that they had asked for a multiple entry and they didn't get it. They said, can we change this? I said, look, I'm sorry, but the way it works is that we can request, but we can't demand. The only difference is a little box on the form that says, do you expect to be visiting Australia on multiple occasions? And you tick yes, and that means you're asking for a multiple entry stay. Okay. So, therefore, less multiple entries than there used to be. We ask for them, up to us what the decision they'll make, so don't expect you can always get this option. And long onshore tourist visas. What clients like to call a visa extension or getting the visa extended. It is in fact an onshore tourist visa application. It's a new visa applied for while the visa holder is in Australia. There's no such thing as extending an existing visa. You can't say, can you make this visa longer? No, it's there, it's written in law, boom, it's got a date, it'll finish by then. You want to stay longer, it means apply for another one. Now, last year we found we could ask for 6 months, and on some occasions we had asked for and were granted 9 months. Since the start of 2019, I think they've granted mostly 3 month stays. I had a 6 month grant about a month ago, but that was quite unusual. Now again, what it means is that you cannot expect to remain together too long. Now they have a strong resistance to anybody using one visa in place of another. People who come to Australia, on work visas, but in fact they're there to be with their partner, or somebody comes on a student visa when they're not that interested in studying and they want to work. They don't like that, and using tourist visas instead of partner visas, they really don't like that. I had somebody once telling me, well, I requested, they applied for tourist visas themselves. They applied for 1 year stays, and they stated the reason was because the partner visa fees were so high, that's why they weren't applying for a partner visa, and then they were surprised that they were refused. Well, they basically spelt it out that they were trying to use one visa in place of another, and they do not like that. They see that as cheating the system. They make no allowances for your finances, and I suspect they wouldn't like anybody doing this to avoid the higher partner fees, which no doubt they consider reasonable. And those fees are there in place because the government wants more money in its coffers. It's as simple as that. So you trying to dodge that and not pay it and keep it in your own pocket, well, obviously they don't like that. So they're doing everything they can to try to avoid that. Now, next important issue which comes up is getting a further tourist visa. Now, what I mean here is the scenario where you spend a year or nearly a year together. You want to continue that because you can't stand the idea of being apart, which is the little formula that actually means you should be looking at a partner visa. Look, there is a discretionary condition on tourist visas, and by discretionary I mean it's up to the case officers whether they use that or not. These days we're finding they're using that a great deal. So yes, condition 8558. Now it states that you can't spend any more than 12 months in any 18-month period inside Australia. Say that again, cannot spend more than 12 months in any 18-month period inside Australia. So what that means is it's very, very unlikely you will get another stay and get to be together when you've been together for a year already. And lately we've found them cracking down when a couple have been together for about 9 months, because another 3 months could just push you over that 12-month period. And we've seen this happen even when couples have applied for a partner visa. Now, I don't know, once upon a time they were just a little bit more lenient when it came to partner visas, because they could see, okay, obviously you're not mucking around, you're not going to be overstaying or anything, you have a solid intention and a good reason to be in Australia, so you can be together instead of being apart. It's a perfectly reasonable thing to ask. Any decent, reasonable, compassionate person could see that. But yeah, they've even got tougher in cases like that, where they've applied for the partner visa and thought, right, well surely be able to get another tourist visa, and they haven't granted it. So yeah, it's just one of those realities. If you were thinking, right, well, stay together with tourist visas while we're saving, you're getting towards 12 months and you're thinking, well, maybe we'll have another go and see if we can get another one of these. Well, look, ain't going to happen. And the big one, yes, can't afford partner visa fees. So what do you do? Look, the bottom line is they're not making things easier. Peter Dutton is still in charge, and he's a fairly cold-hearted person, as most people realise. You only have to look at him. Pauline, the lovely lady, wants a plebiscite because she thinks Australia has too many migrants, and the department just seems to be getting tougher rather than easier. So we will do what we can. Now, we haven't put up tourist visa fees for a few years, and we don't have any immediate plans to do so. So we're not cashing in on the higher demand, not at all. And we're always happy to help you wherever we can. But we will, however, lay it on the line for you if we think what you're asking for is going to end in disappointment or even outright visa refusal, because telling you the truth is the best way to help you. Telling you porkies and having you waste money and be horribly disappointed, might sound better at the start. You go, oh geez, Jeff's so agreeable, he says yes to anything. Yeah, we do you no favours by telling you fairy tales. But we will continue always to help you to be together. That's what we do. That's what Down Under Visa do. That's our mission in life. But look, we will urge you to face reality, and the reality is that you need to get a partner visa. You can't stand being apart. You want to be together. You need a partner visa. That's it. Now, if you can spend $33,690 on a new Holden Commodore, then I'm sure the love of your life is worth a little bit more than that. I think I'd rather have my wife. Find a way. Sell something, even your Holden Commodore. Borrow the fees. Go talk to your parents and see if they can help you out. Live frugally and work longer hours. Just say, right, for the next X amount of months, I'm going to live like an absolute Spartan. I'm going to be, I'm not going to the pub. I'm not getting takeaway. I'm not, taking holidays or going off and seeing, Sound of Music on stage or something. I'm going to save every penny I have. Work longer hours. Bosses, their overtime available. Take the overtime and pack the money away. Now, this is the monetary version of saying, I'd walk over hot coals for you, my darling. Think about it. Thank you. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Down Under Visa Philippines to Australia podcast series. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope you found this useful. Australian visas from the Philippines are not easy, and the outcome matters, as you well know. Please feel free to contact us anytime if you need some further help. And we look forward to talking to you again next time. Bye-bye.